The manager thought he was taking down the troublemaker with the red hat, not realizing that this guy wasn't just a rookie. He smirked, basking in his authority, but at that very moment, his career was already unraveling. One careless decision turned into a disaster he couldn't escape. Now, let's see how it all went sideways. The Everworth marketing office was alive with energy that morning, the usual hum of keyboards and quiet conversations filling the open-plan space. The sleek, glass-paneled walls reflected the golden autumn sunlight streaming in, giving the office a warm glow. Amid the hustle, Ryan Carter, a 25-year-old white man with an unassuming yet sharp presence, adjusted his bright red MAGA hat and took his seat. His casual plaid shirt and jeans set him apart from the suit-clad workforce, but it was the hat that turned heads. Ryan had a reason for being here. Unlike most people who climbed the corporate ladder by flaunting connections, he wanted to carve his own path. What the office didn't know was that his father, James Carter, owned the company. But Ryan had chosen to keep that detail under wraps, determined to learn the ropes without favoritism. Miles Green, the 42-year-old regional manager, stood near the coffee machine, sipping his latte as he watched Ryan. Miles, with his perfectly tailored suit and air of smug authority, thrived on control. From the moment Ryan had walked into the office a week earlier, the hat had been a sore spot for him. To Miles, it was more than just a cap. It was a challenge to his carefully cultivated sense of order. By day 3, Miles couldn't hide his disdain. Sarcasm became his weapon of choice. "Carter, you're really rocking that political accessory," Miles said during a team huddle, his voice dripping with mockery. "What's next, campaign posters on your desk?" Ryan didn't flinch. "Maybe. You think it'd boost morale?" His calm response disarmed the room, drawing a few stifled laughs. The tension escalated during a team meeting later that week. Miles, already irritable, couldn't ignore the hat's glaring red presence. "Ryan," he said sharply, interrupting the discussion, "are you aware this is a professional workplace?" Ryan blinked. "I'm pretty sure I'm dressed fine." Miles leaned forward, his tone turning icy. "That hat is unprofessional. Take it off or pack your things." The room froze. Eyes darted between Ryan and Miles, waiting to see who would blink first. Ryan calmly stood, grabbed his bag, and looked Miles square in the eye. "If a hat's your biggest problem, maybe you've got bigger issues to deal with." With that, he walked out, leaving the office in stunned silence. Ryan stepped into the crisp autumn air, his breath visible in the chill. He didn't feel anger, just a calm resolve. Pulling out his phone, he dialed a number he rarely used for personal matters. "Dad," he said, his voice steady, "we need to talk." Inside the office, Miles reveled in his perceived victory. He recounted the incident to a small group in the break room. "Can you believe the nerve of that kid? Thinking he could waltz in here and disrupt the workplace like that?" The employees laughed uneasily, some out of genuine amusement, others out of fear of crossing him. But the whispers started soon after. "Wasn't that a little harsh?" someone murmured. "Firing him over a hat?" Miles shrugged off the murmurs, confident in his position. He even forwarded a report to HR, framing the incident as a necessary action for maintaining office decorum. That evening, an email from the CEO's office landed in his inbox. "Meeting at 9 a.m. Be prepared to discuss team performance." Miles smirked. Perfect timing, he thought. They'll probably praise me for taking action. Unbeknownst to him, Ryan had spent the evening sharing the incident with his father, leaving out no detail. James Carter, usually composed and measured, listened with a deepening frown. "We'll address this," James said simply, his tone brooking no argument. The next morning, Miles entered the conference room, exuding confidence. The space, with its high ceilings and minimalist design, was meant to inspire creativity and leadership, but today it felt cold and uninviting. At the head of the table sat James Carter, his piercing blue eyes scanning the room. His gray suit was as sharp as his demeanor. "Morning, Mr. Carter," Miles began, flashing his practiced smile. "I've prepared a summary of our team's performance and some ideas for improvement." James didn't return the smile. "We'll get to that, Miles. But first we need to address a more pressing issue." Miles faltered, confusion flickering across his face. "Of course, sir. What's the matter?" The door opened and Ryan stepped in. His MAGA hat sat firmly on his head, its red brim casting a shadow over his determined expression. Miles's face drained of color as Ryan took a seat next to his father. James leaned back in his chair. "Ryan is my son," he began, his voice calm but charged. "He came here to learn the business without special treatment. Imagine my disappointment when he told me you fired him over a hat." Miles stammered, I didn't know." "That's clear," James interrupted. "But what's more troubling is how you handled it. Mockery, threats, and outright dismissal. Hardly the leadership we expect here." The room was silent, the weight of James's words pressing down on Miles. "I made a mistake," Miles finally admitted, his voice barely audible. James's gaze didn't waver. "A mistake that reflects poorly on this company. Your actions not only disrespected an employee, but undermined the values we stand for." By the end of the meeting, Miles's resignation was on the table. As he left the building, his once confident stride was replaced with a defeated shuffle. Meanwhile, Ryan returned to his desk, his hat resting beside his computer. He didn't need to say anything. His actions and his quiet resilience had spoken volumes. What would you have done in Ryan's place? Would you have walked out quietly or stood your ground even harder? Share your thoughts and tell us if you or someone you know has faced a similar situation at work. Let's talk about the importance of standing up for yourself and why dignity in the workplace matters. Don't forget to like and leave a comment. Your voice can inspire someone else to share their story. This tale is meant to shed light on workplace biases and the need for respectful leadership. Together, we can create awareness and make the world a better place. Your opinion matters.